The parable of the wells. There is an amazing city on earth and only one wells live in it. They're alive. They are different. Each has its own edging. Someone has it gilded. Others have carved, chiseled, made of stone, wood, twigs. They are all different. Someone is richer, someone is poorer. There were also very poor wells, with the simplest edging. They really liked to communicate with each other. And it happened from edging to edging. As it happens with people, by word of mouth. Any news spread quickly in this city. And then one day one very interesting thought flew around the city of wells. The extreme well heard it when people from a neighboring village were passing by. It turns out that it has become very fashionable to be filled with something. Not empty. This will give solidity and significance to each well. Then the wells gradually began to fill themselves. Someone decided to fill himself with gold, diamonds, various precious stones. Others decided to fill up with furniture and interior items. Lovers of the beautiful began to be filled with paintings and objects of art. Intelligent wells, books, dictionaries and all kinds of information. They really liked this activity. There was a meaning in life and fullness. But you know, it couldn't have lasted that long. Any well has edges and a bottom. Over time, all the wells in the city were filled and there was nowhere for them to put things that were expensive for them. Then one of the wells came up with a brilliant idea. In order to accommodate your favorite items, you need to expand. And it expanded, thereby getting the opportunity to fill up more and more. Other wells saw this and also decided to take advantage of this idea. Work began to boil. All the wells began to expand. All this was observed by a small well on the outskirts of the city. He could clearly see how the wells were growing, how there was less and less space between them. He was afraid that if this continues, there will come a moment when there will be nowhere for them to expand and they can merge into one huge well, or several huge wells. Thus, they will lose their individuality. And of course I came up with the idea. It is necessary to dig not in breadth, but deep. But how to dig deep if you are filled to the brim? And he decided to get rid of everything he was filled with in order to realize his idea. As he got rid of his possessions, he had moments of panic. What would happen if he became empty? How can he survive this? Will there be any sense in all this? And the worst thing is, what's in the depths? He didn't know and kept digging. There was no place to retreat. He had done too much work. He threw away objects, and other wells pulled apart everything from which he was freed. And naturally, digging deep, one day he came across water. She quickly filled the well. She was beautiful and pure. The well began to play with the water and was so carried away that he did not notice how it overflowed over the edges. The cracked earth was saturated with water and grass turned green around the well. Flowers bloomed, trees grew. Everything around him turned green, came to life and became very beautiful. A small oasis was formed on the outskirts of a deserted city. And this well began to be called a flower garden. Other wells have never seen clean water in their lives. Usually they were fed only by rainwater. They were delighted with the flower garden and many wells also wanted to get the same clean, beautiful water. But when they found out that to do this they would have to throw away the things that they had accumulated, which were dear to them, they abandoned this idea. They could only quietly grumble and envy, saying that he might run out of water and then he would die of emptiness. On the other side of the city, far away from our flower garden, there lived another well, which also decided to grow deeper. And of course he also eventually found water. Thus, 2 oases have already been formed in the city. 2 beautiful wells, around which life was bubbling. At one point, these 2 wells realized that the water they found was shared. It is big and there is a lot of it. It turned out that it was an underground river. They realized that it would never end. Over time, they learned to communicate not like all wells, from edging to edging, but in the depths of this common underground river. The eagle and generosity. Sticking his head out of the nest, the eaglet saw a lot of birds flying among the rocks below. "Mom, what are these birds? What is it?" he asked. "Our friends," the eagle replied to her son. "The eagle lives alone, that's his lot. But even he sometimes needs an environment. Otherwise, what kind of king of birds is he? Everyone you see below is our loyal friends." Satisfied with his mother's explanation, the eaglet continued to watch the flight of birds with interest, considering them henceforth his faithful friends. Suddenly he shouted, "Aye, they stole our food. Calm down, son. They didn't steal anything from us. I treated them myself. Remember once and for all what I'm going to tell you now. No matter how hungry the eagle is, he must certainly share some of his prey with the birds living in the neighborhood. At such a height, they are unable to find food for themselves, and they should be helped. Anyone who wants to have loyal friends should be kind and tolerant, paying attention to the needs of others. Honor and respect are obtained not by force, but by generosity and willingness to share the last piece with those in need." Needle, baton and mallet. Once a peasant saved a Taoist when he was drowning. The Taoist decided to thank the peasant for his kind deed and took him to his cave. There he took out a huge pumpkin from a hiding place and took out 3 magical things from it: a needle, a mallet and a wand. The Taoist laid them at the feet of the peasant and said, "Although these things are ugly in appearance, they contain magical power. The needle gives life and cures all diseases. The mallet carves gold and silver coins when struck. And the wand gives the power to defeat any army and destroy enemies. You saved my life and as a reward you can choose one of them." The peasant, without hesitation, took the needle and hid it in his belt. "You made a decision too quickly," the Taoist was surprised. "Aren't you attracted to wealth or power?" "I chose life," the wise peasant answered, "because neither power nor wealth have no value without it, and, saving the lives of others, I, if I wish, will have both power and wealth. That's why the needle is dearer to me. And as for the baton and the mallet, there's no end of trouble with them." Cat Guru. Every time the guru and his disciples were going to pray, a cat entered the ashram and distracted them from their work. Then the guru ordered the disciples to tie the cat during prayer. After the guru's death, the cat continued to be tied down out of habit. When the cat was also gone, another one was brought to the ashram to carefully follow the instructions of the guru while communicating with the Lord. Centuries have passed. The learned followers of the guru wrote scientific works in which it was pointed out that tying a cat during prayer is of particular importance for the performance of worship.